Boker Tov, good morning, everyone. Somehow we are already on our 20th day of Elul, and this morning we're going to be hearing a reflection from Hadas Nuriel, one of our Torah school teachers. But before we do that, let's begin as we do each morning with the words of Achat Sha'alti, the words of Psalm 27, verse 4. Achat she'alti meit Adonai, ota avakesh. Achat she'alti meit Adonai, ota avakesh. Shivti beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai lachatot benoam Adonai ulevaker behichalo lachatot benoam Adonai ulevaker behichalo. One thing I ask of the Eternal, only that do I seek, to live in the house of God all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Eternal, and to frequent God's temple. As I mentioned, our reflection this morning comes from Hadas Nuriel, and she happens to be our Torah school teacher for our Gimel and Bet classes. No, Gimel and just Gimel class this year. And she brings so much joy and so much enthusiasm and so much love to our students. It just comes through in everything she does. And this morning, perhaps, we'll learn just a little bit about her motivation, about what drives her, and someone who inspired her to become the person who she is.
Hi, my name is Hadas, and I'm a teacher at the temple. I was really happy when the rabbi asked me if I would like to share about a person that inspired me or someone that affected my life. I immediately thought about my dad. I know every girl has a special connection with her dad, but my dad really affected a lot of the things I've done in my life. He was born and raised in Jerusalem, in Israel, to 12 siblings, and his dad passed away when he was really, really young. So his mom basically raised them on their own. And he had a lot of respect for women and a lot of respect to his mom for doing that. And I remember my whole life he said, Daddy's important, but mommy's really important. And he would say sentences that would last and stay with me forever. I remember I got a great student job at some point, and people asked me, how did you get it? And I said, I didn't get it, they got to me. And you know what my dad said when I was really young? He used to say, Tov Shem Tov Mishemen Tov. So it means a good name is better than good oil. He said, go work as hard as you can, do a great job, and people will get to you. And I remember saying that to my friends when I was a student. I remember one day when he took me outside, literally he took me outside because I said something, and he said, look at the moon. You see that moon? If you want, you can get all the way to the moon. You can get anywhere you want. You just gotta work hard and believe. And I really appreciate that. He always followed his dreams, and he always made sure to talk to me about values and about being a good person and do good, and that you can do anything. So I still talk to my dad every day, a few times a day. We have a great relationship, but I think a lot of these talks that we had when I was younger just kind of stick with me, and design the person that I am today. So I'm very thankful for him believing in me and teaching me all of this. This is about me and my dad. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hadas, for teaching us a little bit about your dad and some of the lessons that he gave you. All of us have been fortunate with people in our lives who believed in us, who were there for us, who taught us something that has helped us in some way to become the people who we are today. There are many themes of the High Holy Days. One of the themes is Zichronot, the theme of remembering. In fact, during our shofar service on Rosh Hashanah, there's 3 different times that we hear the shofar called. The first time is during part of the service called Malchuyot, which has to do with God's sovereignty. A part of the service in which we humble ourselves before God, in which we realize and recognize that so much in life is outside of our control. The second part is Zichronot, the one section where it's all about remembrance, of God being mindful and remembering us, and perhaps us as well being mindful and remembering everything that's important within our own lives. And then finally, we have Shofarot, the section of the service that is about looking forward, about action, about faith. But the section about Zichronot is so important because it calls for us to remember. And what is remembering? Remembering is taking something from our past and putting it in the forefront of our minds. To take this opportunity to reflect and to remember people who have truly meant something to us, people who have truly changed us, well, it can do 2 things. It can bring us closer to that person, and it can also motivate us to affect others in the way that we were so positively affected by those people who looked out for us. And Hadas, what you do every day is you take these beautiful lessons and teachings and uplift that your father gives to you and gave to you, and you pass them on to our students in our Torah school. And we are so grateful for just the grace and the beauty with which you do this. And I hope that this can motivate us as well during this month of Elul to really think about the ways in which people have affected us and how we wish to continue to pass that forward as well. I bring us back to Psalm 27 as we continue to look through the words of our portion. And we read these words once more. Of David, Adonai is my light and my victory. From whom shall I feel fright? Adonai is the stronghold of my life. From whom shall I feel terror? When evildoers approach me in battle to feed on my flesh, my pursuers, my adversaries, they have stumbled, they have fallen down. If a camp encamps against me, my heart will not fear. If a war arises against me, in this I would trust. One thing I have sought from Adonai, how I long for it, that I might live in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, that I might look upon the sweetness of Adonai and spend time in the palace. That you might hide me in your sukkah in a chaotic day, hide me in the hiding places of your tent, raise me high upon a rock. Now my head rises above my enemies round about, and in your tent I'll offer offerings to the sound of the truah. I shall sing and chant praises to Adonai. Hear, Adonai, my voice. I am crying out, be gracious to me, answer me. My heart has said to you, seek my face. I am seeking your face, Adonai. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Do not forsake me. Do not abandon me, God of my deliverance. For my father and my mother have abandoned me, yet Adonai gathers me up. Make your path apparent to me. Guide me in the upright road because of those up ahead who lie in wait for me. Do not hand me over to the lust of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, puffing violently. Had I not the faith that I would see the goodness of God in the land of life, wait for Adonai. Fill your waiting with hope in Adonai. Let your heart be strong and of good courage, and wait hopefully for Adonai. This morning we look at the words of our verse based on the song that the song that we sang yesterday, Al Tester, was based on this particular verse. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Do not forsake me. Do not abandon me, God of my deliverance. And I share with you the liturgical poem that Rabbi Deborah Robbins wrote based on that one highlighted word that we had in this verse, 27, verse 9, which is Ezrati, Ezra, meaning help. As with close friends or lovers, parents and children, I call you by many names. My strength, my towering crag, my fortress, my rescuer, my rock, my place of refuge, my shield, my horn of victory, my stronghold, healer of the brokenhearted, binder of wounds. Like the psalmist who lifts eyes to heaven and calls to you by a favorite nickname, Ezri, my help, I call you Ezrati, you who have been my help. Like the best names of endearment, it flows from my lips, unbounded by rules of grammar, an intimate expression of my affection. God said in the Garden of Eden, "It is not good for man to be alone. I will make an Ezer Kenegdo, a fitting helper for him." Perhaps Adam called Eve my help when they first met, grateful he was no longer alone. Or maybe Eve called out my help to get Adam's attention when she was afraid. They were created as each other's Ezer Kenegdo, meant to help one another and act as sacred partners with God. Each of them, each of us, made in God's image to help one another. I call to you, Ezrati, with gratitude and fear, with the intimacy of Adam and Eve. And because we are sacred partners, you can call me by my nickname. I am your Ezer Kenegdo, your sacred partner here on earth. Like you, when I hear my name called, I take notice and act. I am available to those who feel alone, who are seeking the face of holiness in a desperate situation. I cannot turn away, I cannot hide, I cannot forsake a man or abandon a woman or leave behind a child who calls out to God, to me, Ezrati, you who have been my help. In coming together as community each morning, we are one another's Ezer Kenegdo. We are helpers to one another. We are in community. We are here to rejoice with one another at times of simcha, at times of joy. And we are here to uplift one another at times of challenge. And so I just want to thank everyone who is here this morning for being here, for being present with one another. So good morning to Riva and to Laurel, Diane and to Donnie, Bonnie and Jay, Elliot and Don, Pam, and so many others who are here today, this morning. Your presence here does truly matter. I also just want to say hi to Tom and to Michael for being here as well. It's wonderful having you as well. So this morning, just like every morning, one of our most important things that we can do during the month of Elul is to hear the sound of the shofar, to hear the blast, to allow them to resonate within our soul. And this morning, we're blessed to hear the shofar call by Mark Davis.
Tekiah, Shavarim, Teruah, Tekiah.
Thank you so much, Mark, for those shofar blasts. And finally, we offer our Mishaberach prayer, our prayer of healing for anyone who is in need of healing of mind, healing of body, or healing of spirit. I invite you to join with me in offering this prayer for everyone who is being affected by the wildfires. I know ash is coming down in my backyard and in front of my house this morning. I hope that everyone stays safe. I hope that everyone affected by the earthquake yesterday is okay. We have a lot of hard things going on in our world, but by coming together and being there for one another, by offering these prayers of healing, it is my hope that we can truly be one another's Ezer Kenegdo, that we can truly uplift one another. Mikor habracha lehimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha lehavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning for another day of counting these reflections of Elul and counting our way to the start of a new year.